Hey, Danny here from Songwriters International. Now today's video is all going to be about the 5 biggest mistakes that you should be avoiding if you are a beginner songwriter. If you're just starting out, or maybe you've been going for a few months, then these are the 5 mistakes that I've seen I've made and many hundreds of our songwriters who have come to us for songwriting training. And the surprising truth is that some advanced songwriters make these exact same mistakes further on down the line because they never understood what it was that they were actually doing that could have been improved. So for you, you're going to be able to save that time and effort and frustration of these mistakes because you're going to know exactly what to look out for to make sure you don't do them. Alright, so let's get stuck into this. Now the first big mistake that I see so often is songwriters at the beginning of their career and even further along is not finishing songs. The amount of songs that I get sent for feedback that are a quarter complete, half complete, maybe I get a vocal melody, maybe I get some lyrics, that is not a complete song. That is not a song to me personally. I don't feel a song is a song until it's at least 75% of the way through that process, where you're at least at verse 2. I get sent so many different pieces of a song, and that in its current stage is not a song. Now also, a lot of songwriters, what they'll do is they'll get a certain point of the song and they'll just then throw the song away. They'll just say, I don't like it, or it's not worth completing, it's not worth finishing for one reason or another. Now here's what I really suggest you do in order to improve your songwriting. When you hit a point in the song that you traditionally would throw it away, or you would say, I'm not going to finish it, I'm not going to go any further, actually ask yourself, what don't you like about this particular song that's going to cause you not to finish it? By answering that single question, you are going to be able to identify your biggest problems with your songs. So for example, if you look at one of your songs that you right at this moment in time are about to throw away, not finish, put to the side, whatever you want to say, and actually go through this process and say, what is it that's causing me not to like this song? Is it that the verse 1 lyric is not creating enough imagery? Or is it that the melody between chorus and verse is not contrasting enough for me? Is it that the chord progression is the same throughout this song? Is it that the rhyming pattern is too obvious? Now, whatever it may be, as soon as you get the answers, you know the particular area of songwriting that is causing you to not finish this song, which in most cases you're going to then continue on in other songs. And that's why you're going to stockpile all of these half-written songs, quarter complete songs, is because you never actually identified the problem. You never actually went in, figured out what it was that you felt was missing, and then went about actually fixing that so that when you went into your next song, then you've eliminated those problems, or you have at least identified some of the biggest bottlenecks that are stopping you from completing songs on a consistent and regular basis. So like I say, rather than not finishing songs, go ahead, look at your song, listen to your song, read your lyric, and actually look at it and ask yourself, what is it that's missing in the song, and how can then I go about actually making this song better rather than just putting it to the side. Big mistake number 2, now we've got the guitar out for this because I'm going to give you some very simple examples in a moment, but it's lack of melodic contrast. The biggest and most important thing for me personally, and what I suggest to a lot of songwriters, is that the biggest thing when it comes to songwriting is contrast. Whether that's chord progression contrast, whether that's melodic contrast, lyrical contrast, structural contrast, whatever it might be, we should be having contrast throughout the different elements of our song. And the biggest way that we can create contrast is through melody. Now melody is so important. It's what creates hooks. It's how we actually engage listeners in and create catchy parts of our song that then they sing back. But here's the biggest issue. A lot of songwriters that I see and the songs that I hear is that verse 1 will be identical melodically to that of the chorus. Now for example, let me just sing something to you. We're going to sing some la la las and ohs. But for simplicity, you're going to hear how we're going to structure a song which is a verse-chorus structure, but there's no contrast between those two melodies. Okay, so let's go. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So we're still in the verse here. We're going to go round again. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. And then let's go to a chorus with no contrast. Da 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 da. 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 So you get a very simple example there. But you can hear if we continue that da 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 da, it's just continually repetitive. And repetition is very important when it comes to melody, absolutely. But repeating the same melody time and time again, or very similar phrasings of the same melody, is just going to increase the chances of the listener going to another song or turning off our song, or the artist that we send our song to not wanting to take that song. So you're getting melodies within the songs that are identical. Now let me give you another example of how we can create two sections of a song that are completely different. And just listen to that melodic contrast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Now let's go to, let's say, a chorus. Ha 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 ha. Da 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 da, and then back into a verse. Now that's a very simple example of two sections that are different. And we could definitely expand on that contrast that we've created, but that's it in its simplest form. You could clearly differentiate there was two different melodies in two different sections of the song. Big mistake number 3 is all around chords, whether that's on our piano, whether that's on our guitar, or some other instrument that you actually play. But what I'm going to do is keep it simple. We're just going to go to a guitar. Now, what I see a lot of songwriters doing is they play a lot of simple chords, which is absolutely fine. I'm a big advocate of playing simple G, Ds, E minors, Cs, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be fancy. But they're not creating contrast in the different sections of the song through the chord progression. Now, what I mean by this is they will play a chord that is in the key of that song. So let's say, for example, we're playing the C. So what they'll do is they'll keep a similar chord progression throughout the entirety of the song. I'm not going to get into the theory behind this. I'm just going to give you the very simplistics of it, okay? Now, for example, let's say we've got 3 chords. We've got a C, a G, and an F, okay? Very common chords that we would play. Now, what the beginner songwriter might traditionally do is they will play the C, and they'll go to the G, and then they'll go to the F. But what will happen is they'll play that chord progression for the entirety of the verse. And it'll sound something like this. And then when they go to the chorus, they'll go straight back to the same chord progression. And it will sound the same. Where if we look at the actual key that we're playing in and we look at the chords that we have available, in this particular set of chords, we also have an A minor available, right? So what if we just switch this up a little bit? And let's say for the verse, we do C, G, and F, but on that chorus, we make a transition and we go to the A minor this time. And then we maybe go to the G and we go back to the F. But we actually create some chord contrast, okay? Now let's give an example of this. We're going to play a C, we're going to play a G, and we're going to play an F, and then I'll tell you when we're going to go to the chorus, and just hear how going to that A minor and creating that contrast within the chord progression sounds so good. So we're still just playing this verse. Now imagine we're going to go to the chorus. go back to the C. And you can clearly differentiate those two sections. So rather than playing the same pattern time and time and time again, the simplest thing you can do is that when you create the chorus and you go to the chorus, just change the opening chord of that chorus, and it will create such simple contrast, but to the ear of the listener it's going to take them somewhere else. Then you marry that with melodic contrast and you're literally onto a winner when you're creating hooks and contrast between the two sections of a verse and a chorus. Big mistake number 4 is writing without any clear direction. Now, we've definitely all done this. We've gone to the piano, we've gone to the guitar, maybe we've played with nothing and we've just started singing something random. Okay, maybe you've got this little spark of an idea that you've gone to your guitar with and you've just started to sing out a melody. Now, that's all well and good, but here's the problem with that. You don't know what you're actually trying to say, who you're trying to say it to, or what the point of your song is, what the story is, or anything like that. It's a little bit like getting in a car and you're driving 100 miles away from your current location. You don't know how to get to the place that you're going to, but you just get in the car and hope that you're going to somehow find yourself at the end destination without any idea of how to get there. Now, that's very unlikely to happen, and I give this example all the time to our students. This is no different when you're writing a song. We are trying to get to the end of a 3-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute song, but we don't know what the story is about, we don't know what we're trying to say, we don't know who's in the story, we don't know what we want the listener to feel when they actually finish the end of that song. So us sitting here and trying to just sing out random melodies and lyrics is all well and good for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But if we continue that pattern, most of the time we're going to write a song that really doesn't make much sense. It's going to repeat itself in different sections of the song, and it's more than likely going to confuse the listener in some way, shape or form. And what that actually looks like is going to your guitar, let's say the guitar for example, you could be using any other instrument, and just singing out ideas that come to you. Da 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 da. So why don't you just want me, 'cause I know why I can walking away. I don't know, Now you can do that for 5-10 minutes, like I say, maybe 20 minutes, and just see what ideas come to you. But then at some point you're going to have to take a step back and ask yourself, well, hold on, what does this lyric actually mean? What am I trying to say to the listener? What's the point of my song? What is it that I want to deliver to this lyric and this story? And actually understand what it is you're writing. And I call this the plan and prep. And it's where you plan out the song and you identify the point of the song and then what each section of your song is actually trying to deliver. You prepare yourself to write, and then you actually write the song with a map. You have a map and a clear direction to say, okay, verse 1 is about this. Verse 2 is about this. The chorus is going to deliver this message. The pre-chorus is saying this. The bridge is saying this. What this allows you to do is not repeat yourself and give yourself a clear direction of where to take the song in terms of its story and its lyrical content. And the mistake number 5 is not collaborating with other songwriters. Collaboration itself is a fundamental to successful songs. If you look at all of your favorite songs, especially on online platforms now, you can go on there and you can click on an area which says show credits, which allows you to see the songwriters and how many songwriters were on that particular song. And in most cases you're seeing 2, 3, 4, 5. I've even seen up to 20 songwriters on one song. Now that's not necessarily that common, but it does happen. Now, a lot of these successful songs that you love, that I love, are being written by more than one songwriter. Why is that? Well, because great minds come together to craft a song. Not very often is a great hit radio ready song written by a solo songwriter. Now, yes, it has been done, but if we were to look at the law of averages, for every 10 songs that are written, maybe 2 of them are written by solo songwriters and 8 of them have been written in a collaboration environment. The reason I'm a big advocate for collaboration is, number 1, you are bouncing your ideas off somebody else. So where you write on your own and you maybe come out with these lyric ideas and you have no gatekeeper, you've got no one to bounce the idea off. Where in a collaboration, you have to put forward these ideas to somebody else. You have to say, what do you think of this lyric? What do you think of that lyric? And you've got someone to stop you. Whereas if you were writing on your own, you may just pop that lyric straight in. Secondly, you are also cautious about putting forward an idea that you don't truly believe in. You are second guessing, thinking, is this really as good as it can be? Am I going to share this idea and this other songwriter is going to think, that's not very good. You are always thinking, how can I actually make this lyric or this particular idea as good as it can before I present it to the other co-writer? And number three, you're just going to naturally improve so much quicker with somebody else in your circle. What I mean by that is you can see how they write, you can see what it is they do lyrically, melodically. What do they do when it comes to guitar? What do they do when it comes to production? You're going to see someone else in work and you're going to be able to grow yourself. So there we have it. They're the 5 mistakes that I would be avoiding if I was a beginner songwriter, and I suggest you to avoid, whether you are a beginner songwriter or maybe even more advanced. So go implement these, don't make those mistakes, and go and write great songs. If you haven't already, please consider dropping a subscribe for this channel for more videos like this and many more on all things songwriting, and I'll see you over on another video.